I love working with students. I love it so much, even when I was a student myself.
Mhm.
And one of the main ways, besides being a student myself and talking to other students and, um, doing presentations at what we called Met West Live, which was like our all school assembly. One of the things that I would do is I would go to schools all around Oakland and I would do presentations in classes with, students who were my age
Mhm.
and, or I guess a little bit younger by the time I was a senior, but, everyone in my age range. And it was usually around the time that we were organizing climate strikes and that was one of our tactics of getting so much turnout because we literally went to where young people were
Right.
and we would get the whole school to come and then all of a sudden we have thousands of people. And so we would go in and we would talk to young people and we would um help them make those connections and get them inspired and wanting to act. We did this activity that I thought was so simple and so powerful where we would do like a raise your hand if kind of thing. And so we would
Okay.
say, raise your hand if you or anyone that you know has asthma. Usually, like every single hand in the classroom will go up. Raise your hand if you breathe smoke from the wildfires. Every single hand will go up. Raise your hand if someone that you know is currently incarcerated. A lot of hands will go up.
Mhm.
Um, and then we'd say like, raise your hand if your city is being sued by a fossil fuel company and no one's hand would go up, but everyone's hand should have gone up because Oakland was being
Right.
sued by Phil Tagami, who was trying to build this coal terminal. And so by the end, we would have this conversation. We would say, well, we would talk about all those connections, about how asthma connects to this, about how, the main people fighting the wildfires before the pandemic were incarcerated people that were getting paid $1 an hour to fight these fires and then would get out and weren't able to be firefighters, in society. And we would talk about the coal terminal and as our conversation would progress, people would kind of have that aha moment that I had a couple years prior where you're like, oh my God, I was being told these lies that like this is a white thing, but really like I am watching my community suffer because of this. And it is connected to the same systems of racism and white supremacy that are oppressing my people in other ways. And like, how can I get involved in this? And like, this is crazy that I never thought about this. And that's how you engage people, by getting them to recognize their everyday experience and also the power that they have to do something about that. Because seeing me, like this young girl of color straight out of Oakland, their same age, talking to them about this stuff that went through the same moment that they did, that is so powerful. And that is how you get people to be a part of the movement. It's not co-opting, it's genuinely getting people to recognize what they've been experiencing, getting people to understand that environmental literacy, that being able to put language to their experience. Well, I will say that I think the person that the person that you're learning from matters. And
Mhm.
so I recognize that, not all teachers are from the communities that they're teaching in or look like their students.
Right.
And um, I think if you're not, then it's really important to find someone who is. Because in every single community, there are people who are in the streets doing the work every single day. And I guarantee you that they are more than happy to come into a classroom, whether that's virtual, or in person, and, talk to the kids, because that is the work. That is our work as activists, as community activists, to educate our community and to bring people in, especially young people. And so I think that's the first thing. And the second thing is there are so many videos, so many great videos that are made by amazing people. And that's another important resource that may kind of seem like duh, but like it is, you know, there's this video that Boots Riley made. I forget what it's called, but it's really, really dope. And he kind of like breaks down the climate crisis. And that was one of the videos that we would show to students when we went and did those presentations. And, you know, so many people, so many resources. So like utilize those, take advantage of them. And then I think the third thing is experiential project-based learning is so important. And it was a really big piece of my education, especially in high school. And I think that every single student should be doing that because it is a way to authentically engage, and especially within your own community, and being able to direct your own education is something that we do not give students the liberty to do. And in fact, that should not be a liberty. Like it should be a right. It should be something that is assumed. Like I think that students are so underestimated, and you know, we're thought that like if we have power over our own educations, we'll waste it or we won't care. But that is absolutely not true. Like we care so much. And when you continue to give us information and lessons that we don't care about, like, of course, we're not going to pay attention. Of course, we're not like, if you feed us BS, we're going to feed it right back to you. So give us the opportunity to do something that matters to us. You know, maybe like, you have a student in your classroom who plays basketball, and you know he or she or they have asthma themselves or witness their community having asthma, and they recognize the impact that that has on our ability to be able to participate in physical sports, and how the air quality is messing up people's ability to go outside and play. And you know, or maybe you have a student who is a brilliant scientist and who is concerned about representation in the scientific field, especially in environmental science. Or maybe you have a student who, you know, is an artist and doesn't see climate change or environmental justice or, you know, environmental literacy being represented in art. And like it goes on. There are so many different ways that people are impacted by this and in which people can engage and make change, even when you're a student, especially when you're a student. We went to an African-American male achievement class at McClymonds, which is a high school in West Oakland. I think it's actually the only public high school in West Oakland. And we, you know, went through the process of the raise your hand, and we showed videos, and we discussed and we talked about the coal terminal. And by the end, these students were like, what? Like, this is happening right here. That is crazy. That's so messed up. And, you know, seemed really inspired and wanted to get involved. And, you know, I could see us having a lasting relationship with that class and with that teacher, and having them work on a campaign with us. And I think that that's probably something that can be modeled everywhere. I would love for that to happen.